Hello, everyone. Welcome to this third edition of the enlightED 2020 Awards. My name is Alex Barrera, and it's my pleasure joining you today with us here and all our people connected here to enjoy this next edition. So today we're going to watch 12 incredible pitches from international and extraordinary innovative startups from all around the world. And we're going to be giving at the end of our talk the 5 awards that are going to be the best startup in higher education, the best startup with the greatest social impact in education, the best startup with the biggest scalability, the best solution post-COVID-19, and the startup with the best technological solution for learning and training. And we have a whole range of different startups that go all the way from language practice to help with problems like dyslexia, or assessment and tutoring through artificial intelligence. So just so everyone knows how this is going to go, we're going to be connecting with our startups who are going to run a 3-minute pitch, and then I'm going to talk with my people here that I'm about to connect and introduce, which are the judges that will be asking questions to up to hopefully 2 questions per startup. Now, are you ready? So without further ado, I want to introduce our wonderful judges, some of them very good friends. So please welcome Manuela Lara, Project and Development Management at Santillana Digital Business at Fundación Santillana. Let me see, where are you? There you go, Manuela. Pleasure having you. Thank you for joining. I want to introduce my good friend Paloma Castellano. She's the head of the Huayra Hub Madrid. Paloma, pleasure having you as always. We also have our good friend Nacho Mateo, Chief of Investor Relations at IE. Nachete, there you go. Good to see you. Luis Miguel Olivas, Director of Employability and Education Innovation at Fundación Telefónica. Hello, Luis. Pleasure having you. Thank you for joining. Michael Staton, Partner at Learn Capital. Michael, where are you? Let's see if I have you, or we don't have you. It's not Michael. Well, he will join us eventually. And of course, our own and unique Maria Lada. She's the head of startups at South Summit. Mary, pleasure having you. Thank you for joining. For once, you are on the other side and not here with the cameras. And last but not least, big applause. And thank you very much for joining. Carlos Moser, Senior Investment Associate at InverReady. Thank you very much all for joining us today. And of course, our startups that are getting ready to rumble. So, without further ado, I want to introduce our first startup coming all the way from Spain and providing a 360 solution for learning in an adaptive way for kids between 3 to 12 years, including more than 5,000 activities, 250 apps, around 300 videos that touch and reinforce all the different aspects of education for children, from emotional skills to language to neuroeducation and social emotional skills. So without further ado, please check out our next video. Big applause for Victor Sanchez, CEO of Smile and Learn.
Good morning. This is Victor Sanchez, CEO and founder of Smile and Learn. I have 3 children, and 6 years ago I saw my children were eating digital burgers at home, such as Fortnite or YouTube. And at school, they were eating digital broccoli, a poor digitalization of textbooks. That is why I founded Smile and Learn. What makes us unique is the combination of 360-degree education, 21st century digital formats, and the best of technology. What is 360-degree education? We are building in a single platform everything a child needs to learn, from core curricular content to 21st century skills such as programming or social emotional intelligence. We have more than 5,000 interactive activities in applications, videos, audiobooks, and augmented reality. And we bring deep tech in the service of education by providing advanced learning analytics, giving recommendations to teachers and parents based on what children like, what they're good at, what they're weak at, using artificial intelligence, and more importantly, helping to personalize the learning experience to each learner. We have a solid and winning business model. We target children 3 to 12 years old at school and at home. We go to schools, B2B, through partners. Our revenue model is based on an annual subscription. Our marketing is based on advocacy marketing, and we have a super EdTech factory. We have already achieved a lot. Teachers corroborate that children smile and learn with us. We have received international awards, such as from the European Commission, Beta Awards, Eurostars, or the Ministry of Education of Spain. And we have more than 4 million users of our content, of which 300,000 are at our platform. And we have a great team to deliver on this challenge. Let me finish with a short video, because a video is worth 10,000 words.
Hello, and we're back. Thank you so much, Victor. Pleasure having you. That was pretty impressive and a lot of fun. We were just talking while we were listening to the pitch that I have 3 kids, so all this stuff actually it's very close to my day-to-day. I have twins that are 5 and a baby girl who's 2, so I think nearly most of the solutions today are gonna definitely connect with with my kids. Anyhow, we are ready. Are you ready for questions? Okay, so judges, please raise your hand so we know who's going to ask. And we have the first question coming all the way from Santillana. Manuela, go ahead, please. We have a mute there. Manuela, are you muted? There we go.
Again, good afternoon, Victor, and thanks for your presentation. Do you think that your content is core content? I mean, could substitute textbooks, for example, or it's more supplemental content?
Yeah, so thanks. Nice to talk to you again, Manuela. It depends on the school. Eventually, for many schools, they could completely replace textbooks. We work with schools that don't have textbooks. Today, there are still a minority of those. And for those, of course, the use of Smile and Learn is mostly a replace of existing textbooks. For many schools, they are using Smile and Learn on top of or complementary to their textbooks. For instance, they might be using the social emotional skills part, or they might be using the mathematical part to complement what they have in their books. So I think it is both. As we move forward, I think we're going to see more and more a replacement of textbooks by Smile and Learn and by other platforms, though my vision is that both worlds will be together. So in the end, we will see textbooks together with digital platforms. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Manuela. Thank you very much, Victor. And I think we have another question. So we are going all the way with Fundación Telefónica. Luis Miguel, please go ahead with your question.
No, thank you very much. It was relationship with the content also, and with the other different possibilities to integrate other type or other kind of content about other participant. I don't want to repeat the question. Sorry about that.
We have mute Victor. I think you're muted.
Sorry, Luis Miguel, what was the question?
No, it was a similar question. Sorry, but
okay,
I had the hand up, but I didn't want it.
So that's great. I got 2 questions replied for one. Thanks.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, perfect. So that was efficient answering, right? Answering several questions with a single answer. Okay, so I believe we're gonna move to our next startup. Thank you so much, Victor. It was a pleasure having you. And there we go. Now we're gonna fly. We're gonna stay here in Spain, but this time we're gonna talk about the language we're using. And you know, if you're Spanish or if you come from another country where English is not the native language, you'll realize that sometimes it's extremely hard to learn it, especially if you grow older and you don't have access to all this stuff. And precisely to talk about that, with a new method to learn English, I want to welcome our next startup. So please welcome Marc Vicent, CEO of ABA English.
Hi, my name is Suarez, and I'm the CMO, Marketing Director of ABA English. ABA English is the #1 digital English academy in the world. We have over 30 million students from around the world, more than 150 different countries. And I want to first start this presentation by walking through the what is called the new learning model, right? What we observe is that we started by reading, then they learn by what they see, then they learn by what they hear and see, and they learn by what they say and write. But in the end, when you think about it, you actually learn when they actually do something that you're interested in and that you're really engaged in. And the truth is that whether that is ultimately going to be giving you a higher amount of knowledge and a more engaging process, which in the end, that's fantastic for any student. This is where we're actually going. And that's why we want to present from learning to smart learning. The point here is the following. We have a typical course that it's video classes, writing, the very clear method from A to Z. Well, we believe that we wanted to change that to make it more engaging to the users. That's the reason why we actually started making sure that the students could actually select their interest, the things that they're actually interested, business, technology, news, and they could use it to actually learn English in a more engaging way. This is the reason why in all that process, we create what we call the ABA Live courses. This is basically pretty much live classes with teachers and students around the world. We started with a handful of students. Now we have thousands of students doing live classes with students and with other students and teachers. This can be speaking classes, debates, master classes, and so on. I remember, for example, one during the confinement in April that basically was a tour guide from La Sagrada Familia. And you had students from around the world learning English, be confined in their own homes, learning English through a tour guide live inside of La Sagrada Familia. This is part of what we call the smart learning method. Making sure that the student actually learns with all the different interests that they actually have. In the end, and just to be very clear and brief, we have, through more than 30 million students, we have students that have been able to get a better job, that have been able to have a better, another love life, they've been able to go to another country to live. And ultimately, that is what is meaningful for us. And that's the reason why a personalized learning experience and the possibility of giving that to the student is key to the success of e-learning. And that's the reason why we are fully engaged in this process and make sure that we can deliver the most value to our users from around the world. Thank you very much.
There we go. And of course, that wasn't Marc, that was Luis Florid, CMO of ABA English. Luis, my mistake. So welcome, Luis. Thank you very much for joining us today and for your wonderful pitch. And judges, do we have any questions? Please raise your hands. There we go. We have a question from Nacho. Nacho, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Luis, for the presentation. My question is regarding the competition analysis. I mean, what would you say is your main competitive advantage against the other thousands of learning platforms that are in the internet?
Well, I think, I mean, when you compare big platforms and so on, what they have right now, it's a structured course. What we used to have, and we still have, which is basically a course that goes from writing, speaking, and so on. The main topic, what I was mentioning, is basically that we're putting thousands of classes, almost more than 2,000 live classes per year, so they can actually learn while doing that course, and while that is connected through their interests. So it's basically interest-based learning with small micro lessons through live English with teachers and students around the world, and with a fixed course with a very clear methodology. And that's why I believe we have a very different approach to other platforms like Busuu, Babel, or Duolingo, which is basically a very standardized, clear course from A to Z.
Okay, Thank you.
I responded briefly, but that was it. Sorry.
Thank you very much, Nacho. I don't know if we have any other questions, people. Please raise your hand to see if we have one extra question. We still have the time. Or Luis did a wonderful job. So I was just thinking when I was watching you guys, and that for those of you that are not right now in Spain, it's so good to see your faces without the mask. So it's really nice. Anyway, we don't have any more questions. Well, thank you very much, Luis. It was a pleasure having you. Thank you very much for the pitch, and thank you for the questions. And we're moving this way. We're flying all the way to the US to talk about sometimes as parents, it's really hard to give conversation to our kids. I don't know if I'm lucky or cursed, depending who you ask, but I have, as I said, 3 kids, and I'm the one that speaks in English at home. So my kids have been listening to English all the time, but this is not always feasible. And precisely to figure out solutions and how can we use AI and little virtual assistants to help us interact with our children and teach a new language like English, we're going to be talking in our next pitch. So please welcome the co-founder and CEO of Buddy AI, Ivan Kretkov.
Hi, I'm Ivan, the co-founder and CEO of Buddy AI. And we're building the voice-based AI English tutor for kids. It all started when I brought my daughter Sophia to the United States. She was 3 years old and she had to learn how to speak English. Of course, there were tons of English learning apps and websites, but it turns out that the only way to practice speaking online was through tutoring platforms that connect children and teachers via video conferencing and charge like $20+ per lesson, which is too expensive for most families, right? And there are 500 million children with the same problem in the world today. So enter Buddy AI. We help children practice spoken English by talking with a virtual AI-powered character, just as they would with a human tutor. Meet Buddy AI.
Hello, Ivan.
Hi, Buddy.
How are you?
Doing great, and you?
I'm great, thank you. Do you want to play dinosaurs?
I'm a bit busy here.
Bye-bye. See
Bye.
you later.
Buddy lives on a mobile app. He helps children learn speaking vocabulary, improve pronunciation, and even practice real-life dialogues. Today, Buddy is a prototype with just 5% of planned functionality, but it already has 30,000 paying students, generating over $1.7 million in annualized subscription revenue. And we have 200,000 user reviews worldwide, almost all of which are 5-star ratings. Last year, Buddy has won the Global Education Startup Innovation Award and was nominated for more Voice Technology and Education Awards. Buddy's secret sauce took us 2 years to cook. And essentially, it's a virtual character powered by a proprietary speech stack and adaptive learning technology developed in-house. Our focus on speaking and our virtual AI-powered tutor makes us different from the regular language learning apps and bring us closer to online human tutors. We're a small team, but we have the experience of building powerful voice-first products and adaptive learning systems. We sold our previous voice technology company, and our kids just made us build Buddy. The time is now. Buddy just became possible because of the recent advancements in AI technology, and the pandemic made online learning a new normal, making our work important as never before. So join us on a mission, and I hope our children would be able to really speak to each other. Thank you very much. I'd be happy to share more.
Thank you so much, Ivan. That was great. I was just thinking that in my case, I just need to dress like a dinosaur because I already do all the other funky and weird sounds and all that stuff. I do that. So that's okay, Oma. I think I'm fine on my side, but there's definitely a lot of people that would really enjoy checking the app. Thank you very much, Ivan, for your pitch. And judges, do we have any questions? Oh, wow. We have a bunch. So let's go with ladies first. Paloma, please tune in. Please unmute your mic.
Hello, Ivan. Congratulations on the pitch and the demo. It was impressive. I have a lot of questions, but but that shows interest, nothing else. So I would love to know a bit more about your business model and how you are getting into the market. And also, which are your current investors, if I may address the question.
Thank you for the question. So the business model is pretty simple. Now it's a subscription model. So we just charge our users on a monthly basis, but the vast majority of our students actually prepay for annual subscriptions. It's like about $35 for an annual subscription.
And well, how do you acquire the users?
Oh, so we primarily, so there are like two channels. Primarily, we acquire users using a combination of like video-based ads, mostly YouTube, because we're like the product is really visual, and we have almost half of our traffic is actually word of mouth. So just parents are sharing Buddy with each other.
Okay, we have another question. By the way, if people are paying for the subscription, if anyone wants a dinosaur an English-speaking dinosaur with a monthly subscription fee, they can call me because I can do that. I can do all the different things. Rawr, rawr. I have no investors yet, but just let me know. And please, for the next question, I wanna thank you, Ivan. I wanna welcome our next question from Nacho from IE. Please, Nacho, unmute yourself.
Thank you very much, Ivan. Well, first of all, let me say that I have listened to your pitch like several times in different competitions, and I never get tired about it. So congratulations. You mentioned in your presentation that your prototype is now on a 5% functionality, more or less. So how is your roadmap in terms of developing the full functionality of your product?
Not sure. Maybe it's even has like a 6% now because we made some developments since our like last conversation, I guess. But anyway, so the goal is, so basically today we're you can say it's like an MVP, like a prototype with about 2 months of active learning, and so over the next 2 years we plan to bring it into like a fully functional product with about a year of content for active almost daily practice, and so focused on speaking skills, like including speaking vocabulary, pronunciation, language production. It's like conversation basically.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nacho. So I believe I have some takers on my dinosaur. Okay, I can do the pose. We do need to increase the amount that you're going to pay me per month. But meanwhile, we still have an extra question for you, Ivan. So from Fundación Santillana, Manuela, please go ahead and mute yourself.
Yeah, hi, Ivan. Thanks very much for your presentation. Just a very quick question about the adaptive learning technology. Could you describe a little bit about it? About what is the kind of, do you build itineraries, or is really adaptive learning at an individual level?
Sure, Daniel, thanks for the question. And so we, the idea is that Buddy learns with the child, and as it collects data on each individual student, it kind of learns to teach this particular student. So we start by building a like personalized curriculum, and then we are adapting it on the go And so basically, the idea is that each lesson would be personalized based on the progress on the learning style and pace of this particular student and the students like that one. So yeah, it's deeply personalized, but also uses data from all our users.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much both. Thank you, Manuela, for the question. Ivan, you don't have any more questions, but thank you so much for your explanation and obviously for your pitch. It was a pleasure having you. And we're moving to our next pitch. In this case, we're flying all the way to the UK, where I believe they've already locked down the pubs. So Elizabeth, I hope you're not crying because of that. But stay strong. It's getting worse here in Spain, so it could always be worse. Anyway, we're going to be talking about something that is very dear to my heart, because despite what a lot of people think, I am a computer developer and I went to computer engineering like some other friends. And here we are. But I still do coding from time to time, and my kids are starting to get to an age where coding is kind of feasible to try and teach them some coding. However, it's not easy to find the right tool to do this, especially to connect them with real life experiences and in a way that they can engage and start thinking in a computational way or in a programming or developer way. And precisely to talk about that, I want to welcome our next pitch. As I said, we're flying this time to the UK, so please welcome our next startup, Cypher Coding, Elizabeth Tweedale, founder and CEO. Elizabeth.
80% of children in school today will hold jobs in the future that don't exist yet due to advancements in technology. It is essential that every child in today's society learns how to code. As with any core subject, computer science needs to be taught little and often. It's a comprehensive subject, just like math or English, that builds on strong foundations, solidified as early as possible. So, how do we prepare our children for the technological future? My name is Elizabeth Tweedale. I'm an award-winning author of books teaching children how to code, and I'm the CEO of Cypher. I founded Cypher 4 years ago with a strong leadership team supporting our unified vision. Cypher inspires children to learn the language of the future through creatively themed coding courses, such as fashion or architecture or conservation, to name just a few. We teach children between the ages of 4 and 14 how to code, engaging them through creative real-life themes, getting kids ready for an increasingly digital future in a world with growing global societal challenges. Computational thinking is at the heart of coding and provides a foundation for efficient problem solving. If you give children the tools to think computationally, it allows them to see a problem, break it down, and figure out how to fix it. Our unique approach at Cypher is taught at holiday camps and after-school clubs, both in person and live online, ensuring that the next generation is future ready. This market is huge. Our first few years saw us pulling students mainly from private London day schools and beyond. As we have developed our online offering, we now have increasing numbers of students from across the UK, Europe, and the US. And our 5-year target is to get to 2 million students, which represents 200 million in revenue. But what consistently sets Cypher apart from competitors is the exclusive computing curriculum developed to teach children at an advanced level through themed computing projects and a commitment to creating a unique journey for each of our students. We nurture creativity, an entrepreneurial mindset, and computational thinking, using, of course, coding as our tool. Now let's look at the numbers. We're averaging £1,000 per child per year, with a lifetime value of £6,000 per child. We have over 2,400 unique students, and since just April this year, have delivered over 7,000 hours of live online teaching. Now, we're expanding and are rolling out our proven model to acquire new markets. Next year, we aim to hit 5 million in revenue, and by 2024, achieving year-end revenues of 200 million, with EBITDA of 100 million. We're about to launch our Series A, so if you would like to get involved in our journey, please do get in touch. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Elizabeth, for your time with us and your wonderful pitch. I was just thinking, right? You were saying about breaking down the problems into logical steps, and I was thinking one of my twins definitely works like that. Obviously, my baby daughter, she's smarter than both the twins put together. But then one of the twins, he just tries to brute force everything. So I wonder if there's a way to help him with that. Meanwhile, I want to ask, do we have any questions, judges? I believe we already have one. So we're going with Fundación Telefónica. Luis Miguel, please patch through. Unmute your mic, please.
Thank you very much. Congratulations, Elizabeth. Very, very interesting. My question is about the official curricula. Are you thinking to integrate, to collaborate with the governments or different public institutions to integrate your product inside of the schools?
Yep. So I've spent the last 4 years kind of developing our curriculum. And essentially, you could think of it as the same level of sort of GCSEs in computing if you're in the UK system, or the US system with like AP computer science, but then really breaking that down to how, say, the brain of an 8-year-old works, and then how we apply those concepts into digestible pieces for that of an 8-year-old. So essentially what we're doing is breaking it down such that from the age of 5 all the way to 14, you can get little by little all of those concepts in that you would reach with those kinds of core computer science curriculum behind it.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. I was just seeing that you have one of your daughter, I believe it's behind you. Say hello. She doesn't.
Say hi.
Hello. That's awesome. That's our day-to-day life now. I don't know if we have. I don't know, judges, do we have any other questions for Elizabeth, please? No more questions, which means you did an extraordinary job. Oh, yeah, we have. Quick one. So we're going Fundación Santillana. Manuela, do you have a question?
Just one question. Do you think that your model, your methodology, or your product could be exportable to non-English speaking countries?
Yes, absolutely. And that is in our projected timeline, but after our 3-year mark. So basically we've set up and automated all of our onboarding processes, which at this point are in English, but that's what we have on our roadmap for year 3 and beyond to be able to expand to more people. And I think because we have live online teaching, it makes it that much easier to be able to offer it in different languages, because we can just pull teachers from all of the different countries in order to be able to kind of translate against all of that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Manuela. Thank you so much, Elizabeth, for your time and your wonderful pitch. Definitely, I really want to try it out now. I have the...
Well, your kids are 5, so that's perfect. They can join. The twins, anyway.
Yeah, it's like you sit down with them, but then my daughter comes around and she's like, I want to play with you, Daddy, too. And then everything ends up in tears. So we're trying to adapt there to how do we do this. Thankfully, we still have school here in Spain, so that's pretty cool. Please
Well done.
do not close school.
Yes.
It's funny, I was recently looking at some numbers, and they made a survey in the UK, and the number one thing that everyone said, please do not shut down, were schools and nurseries. So
yes, exactly.
There you go. I think everyone with kids know what I'm talking about. Anyway, thank you so much, Elizabeth. It was my pleasure and our pleasure having you here today. Thank you for your pitch. And we're moving on. This time we're flying to the US. It's a company that also has operations in Brazil and in India, and does something that, and some of our judges are actually also professors and teachers, so they know what I'm going to talk about. But I'm a professor, and I give classes all around the place, and there's one really tiny little thing that is horrible about teaching, which is putting exams. It's the most horrible thing. closely followed by actually grading the exams, which is even worse. However, what if we could actually put exams without having to write them? Just give the content and a system creates the exam, then checks that how everyone is doing, gives you insights and powerful analytics around that, and more importantly, make sure that no one is cheating. So to talk about that, we have our next startup. So please welcome Sean Kilechan, co-founder and CEO of Edusync.
Hey everybody, my name is Sean and I am the co-founder and CEO of Edusync, an affordable and scalable online testing platform designed for institutions. Before I tell you about us, I'd like to tell you about Hannah, the head of assessment at the University of Auckland in New Zealand. Now Hannah has a number of problems. All the testing currently done in class and in school is via pen and paper tests, either with multiple choice testing online or Google Docs. Any kind of long form written or spoken tests is conducted via email, Google Docs, telephone interview, Skype, Teams, what have you. Furthermore, there are no reporting tools for teachers or admins, and there's no security when testing students remotely to guarantee they are who they say they are and they are not cheating. This is where the Edusync solution comes into play. We not only offer an authoring tool for Hannah and her team to create customized tests around any subject of their choosing, we also offer detailed analytics and reporting for her and her staff, as well as AI-driven anti-fraud and remote proctoring tools to guarantee students are not cheating. The authoring tool is designed to be both language and content agnostic, meaning any kind of language can be put on the platform and used to create any kind of test. There are over 40 different question types that you can use to structure a test, and the backend was constructed to actually deploy the solution anywhere in the world through one dedicated platform. The remote proctoring tool we call fraud detection uses a combination of online tools in the browser, from event tracking to the webcam to the microphone, to determine if the user is talking to somebody else, speaking when they're not supposed to be, or using tools that are not allowed to be used on the exam. We also take photos intermittently throughout the test, among a host of other individual solutions that we combine to generate a score for each student to determine if we believe they cheated or not. If the system flags them, they are then sent to a human being who will further review to determine if the student was up to no good. For the long form spoken and written testing, we actually allow universities to put their own professors on the system in order to evaluate these individual exercises. A student will write an essay or record their response in their computer or cell phone. We then automatically distribute it to one of the university's professors or evaluators, who can then give evaluation and feedback directly on the platform to each student. The combined usage of all of these tools in one dedicated place is really what makes us different. From the 100% online testing of 40 different question types to report generation, allowing universities to use their own staff, and doing it all affordably and at scale to allow any organization from around the world to use the system is what makes us truly unique. Currently, we have over 300,000 users, 47 institutional partners. There is an Edusync user in every country on the planet, and over 8 million questions have been answered on the platform. Some of our partners include ASU, one of the largest online universities in the world, as well as BU, Georgia Tech, and other institutions from the West, as well as Asia, South America, and Europe. There are 3 of us on the executive team. Sean is me, and I was born and raised in New York, now living in Mumbai. Adam, my co-founder, is living in Brazil, where he spent the last 7 or 8 years or so. And Rodrigo is also based in Brazil. And the 3 of us together are overseeing a team of 11 people to help grow Edusync and make it the #1 online testing platform for institutions around the world. Thank you very much for your time.
So thank you so much, Sean, for that wonderful pitch. It was music to my ears, I'll tell you that. Automatic correction, I really need that stuff. It is, you know, I love teaching, but I swear that the whole testing and grading is horrible. There should be an app for that, and thankfully we have. So I don't know if we have any questions for Sean. I believe we have one from Nacho from Ai University. Nacho, please patch through.
Thank you, Sean, for the presentation. My question is, again, regarding the value proposition that you are giving against other direct competitors, like such as, I don't know, TestWe or this kind of direct competitors that you guys have. What's the main advantage that you're giving that are not being given by other competitors?
It's a great question, and actually almost all of our current clients use other solutions, not necessarily test suite. Most of them use LMSs like Blackboard or Canvas or Moodle. And what it really comes down to, I think, is usability for the students. A lot of these platforms, the assessment piece of what they've built is a little bit clunky and outdated. And from the teacher and admin side, it's really a pain for them to actually have to put up all their content. For an institution that has 50, 60, 70 exams, it can be quite burdensome to have teachers who are not necessarily tech savvy actually putting up content, creating the rubrics, the scoring methodology. All of that is streamlined by our staff and our platform. So you combine that with the anti-fraud technology, and you really have something quite unique. So we really focus on lightening the load for universities and any partner of ours that actually uses the system.
Perfect. We should get in touch after the event.
Let's do it.
Okay, thank you very much, Sean. Thank you very much, Nacho. I believe we don't have any more questions. And I was thinking, by the way, if anyone ever mentions Moodle again, I'll shut them down. I swear, what a horrible platform. Whoever invented that should go and burn in hell. So anyway, that's my teacher speaking here. And we're going to
Tell him to call me.
And we're going to keep moving. Thank you very much, Sean, for your pitch. Thank you for the questions, judges. And we're flying back to Spain. This time, as I said, as a teacher, sometimes it's about engaging with the students, but other times it's using the right tools for the job. And I'm a little tired of seeing people giving presentations or creating material with clip art. You know who you are, right? Clip art, that bubble thing with no face, horrible graphics, horrible interactions. Well, you know who you are, right? Well, to fix that, we have our next startup. So please welcome Alberto Lopez, founding partner of Geniali.
Hello, I'm Alberto Lopez from Geniali, and I'm going to show you the tool that brings content to life with this presentation made with Geniali. Okay, we have two ways of communication: static content with a plain image, a plain text, and an external link, and interactive content where you have layers of information and you have a video that gets in the same creation. It's simple, it's more simple, and the communication becomes an experience between the sender and the audience. So to sum up, with the static content you board and with interactive contents do you communicate. But the problem before Geniali was that it was hard and expensive to develop because you needed background in design. Now with Geniali, we like to say that we are democratizing the creation of interactive content because now it's simple and affordable for everyone. We have concentrated the power of Office software and web technology to create a one-for-all tool by which you can create almost everything you learn once and you can use it in many situations. Geniali is probably the most versatile tool in the market. We base our tool in interactivity because when you interact with a presentation, you are living an exploratory process. Animation because it's very interesting for eye-catching. Monitoring because you have to know what is working and what is not. And integration because you can embed almost everything in Geniali and you can embed Geniali in almost everything. LMS, other website, and so on. We are not just a tool, we based our tool in other techniques like storytelling, gamification experiences, and in our pillars in general. We provide much more participatory classes and much more collaboration content. And it's very easy, it's really very easy. Everything is drag and drop. What you see, what you get, you have thousands of templates and thousands of resources for you to use. And most of the work is done. We like to say that you don't have to be a genius to create awesome things. We are a global company with clients like Ministry of Education of France, Oxford University, in almost all the countries in the world. Our social impact is quite big. We have 7 million users, 1 billion views. We have key partnerships with people like Google or Amazon Web Services or Microsoft. And we have recently been winners of the International EdTech HESA Awards. We are growing so fast. We have more than 20,000 new users a day, and that's quite impressive, taking into account that it's almost all virality and word of mouth. In terms of MRR, we have 250K MRR, and we are growing really very fast. We have done many things for COVID that have allowed us to grow even faster. Now we are growing at a rate of 18% monthly. The market is huge. We have competitors like PowerPoint, and we are still a young and small team ready to do big things. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Alberto. Pleasure listening to your pitch. And as I was listening to your pitch, I was wondering, for someone presenting something about interactive, you have an awful amount of books behind you. So that's really cool.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
But hey, that's good. Books are also good. I believe we already have a question for you. So from Fundación Telefónica, Luis Miguel, please come through, unmute yourself.
Hi, thank you very much, Alberto. Regarding talking about the pandemic situation, crisis, what have you been doing during this COVID period? And also the question is, do you think that your product maybe solve the problems that we have in the schools in this moment, in this hard month, in this month where the people or the students try to continue with apprenticeship in the house?
Alberto, you're muted, I believe.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, of course, I wouldn't say that we have solved the problem, but yes, absolutely, we have been a part of it. We have contributed to a more innovation education. We have made hundreds of templates and other resources made free. And also we have set special pricing for schools. We have been giving students plans for free for schools also. And yeah, at the beginning, before COVID, we used to grow at a rate of 10% monthly. And now we have reached peaks of 30% monthly. And in average, we are growing now more than 20% monthly. So yeah, people have been using Genially massively around the world, and yeah, I would like to think that we are contributing to help the community, the education community, to deal with the problem.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I don't know if we have any other extra questions. Any more hands? No. Okay, well, thank you both very much for that, and I'm very happy to hear that you are growing at a really healthy multiple, so no more clip art and a lot more interesting and cool and interactive graphics. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're moving forward, and in this case, we're staying again in Spain, and to talk about how hard it is sometimes to connect the educational content with what's happening out there. If it's already hard because we have a lot of information coming our way, imagine if you had to validate all that educational information and to update all the books and all the materials that we have out there to match the reality of the world compared to the reality that we have in the classrooms. Well, precisely to provide a solution for that, to create a marketplace where you can find that up-to-date educational content, we have our next startup. So please welcome in your screen, all the way from Spain, Pina de Paz, CEO and co-founder of Kimple.
Hi, my name is Pina de Paz and I am co-founder at Kimple. Let me ask you something. If you could choose one thing to be taught in high school, what would it be? We have just experienced the most important school digitalization in history. And now we face the opportunity to move forward to the modernization of education, which faces the following challenges: the connection between the world and the classroom to prepare students for their future challenges, professional development and reskilling of teachers, and inclusion and equal opportunities for everyone. Kimple was born with the purpose to solve these challenges through a new content model. We look for best methodologies and learning paths around the world, led by great teachers, authors, educational providers, or NGOs, and we scale them through Kimple. Kimple is a digital marketplace for teachers with innovative learning dynamics based on emerging topics. Every teacher from around the world will find in Kimple an easy-to-use tool to be implemented either in the classroom or remotely. Each of these dynamics includes 3 keys to make the transformation possible: guidance and professional development for teachers' lifelong reskilling, active methodologies to develop students' essential skills, such as critical thinking, problem solving, or creativity, and global content, based on our 3 categories: global citizenship, computational thinking, and entrepreneurial spirit. We focus on contemporary subjects such as sustainability, globalization, technology, diversity, SDG. Kimpel supports schools in the challenge of modernizing education. We transform the educational system in a scalable and sustainable way through teachers' empowerment. At the same time, we encourage students to learn for future. We are a team that combines years of experience in the educational sector and Wolox, an IT company specialized in digital disruption. We are a digital marketplace with a B2B model with the schools. We identify and select content from international authors and distribute it under a revenue sharing model. Our user is the teacher and our end target is their students. Our target is public, private, and semi-private schools, and we have scholarship plans for schools in vulnerable environments. Being a global content marketplace with a bid-to-school model and a teachers-driven project make us a high-impact, scalable startup in an extraordinary timing. Currently, 15 schools are implementing the project in Spain and Latam. We count with more than 450 hours of content, reference awards, and have been pre-selected in several public tenders. Educational transformation is possible, is Kimpel. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Pina. It was a pleasure having you. And judges, do we have any questions? Please raise your hands if we have any questions. Oh, that was fast. So we're going back to Fundación Santillana. Manuela, please unmute yourself.
Yes, hi Pina, thanks very much. I really like your idea. And I would like to answer you, how do you cross everything related to skills with the curriculum? How do you work these links?
Hi Manuela, nice to meet you. Well, what we do is we start choosing our content. Our first step is searching current content based on international educational trends. And then we analyze each educational content that we reach with a very, very deep pedagogical view in terms of methodology. So we have these 2 criteria, selecting criteria based on the methodology and the content, both.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you very much, both. Thank you, Pina. Thank you, Manuela. I believe we don't have any more questions, so it was a pleasure. Congratulations, Pina. Thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you.
Judges, startups, how are you guys doing? Are you all good? Still with me? Great. There you go, all parts of the world. You know, there's a lot to be said about this stuff, about technology and connecting with everyone, but it feels amazing to have you all connected here at the same time. And we're going to move forward to our next company. This way we're flying to Croatia, a country I deeply love, which is a beautiful country, to talk about something that happens to a lot of people, which is the big problem of dyslexia. And if you have kids, it's definitely one of those situations where when they're starting to learn to read, you start getting anxious, right? Like the kid should read by now, right? He should read better. Why he keeps mixing and garbling the words, right? So there's a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of people that are actually dyslexic that don't know they're dyslexic. However, to fix this, to help dyslexic patients read better with an incredible advanced dynamic font system for reading, I want to welcome our next startup. So please welcome Banja Andrej, Chief Marketing Officer at Omoguru from Croatia.
Hi, my name is Vanja and I'm in charge of growth at Omoguru. Families living with reading difficulty struggle every day. Kids are frustrated, angry, and suffer from low self-esteem. Their education and social life are failing despite having a huge amount of emotional support and help at school. Dyslexia is very serious. 45% of dyslexics are unemployed and around 50% prisoners are dyslexic. To you, dyslexia is invisible and reading is a simple task. But to dyslexics, text is basically fuzzy and each has different troubles reading at pace and without mistakes. Our solution starts with the only adaptable font system that can cover each individual need. Science and practice confirm it makes reading easier. Kids read faster, make fewer mistakes, and use less mental effort to read. With the font system and a set of tools, Omoguru makes the text clear, understandable, and improves reading rhythm, focus, and speed. Now, this combination makes it the most powerful reading environment for dyslexics. In just a few clicks, users select a book or a short story, adjust text appearance, mark syllables, and select reading style with animated line or a focus tool, and they are ready to read. Our main competitor is Microsoft with their learning tools, but their solution is limited to use within their own software. Our unique advantage is the dynamic font system that is crucial for comfortable reading and to address a wide range of dyslexia manifestations. We support key digital content formats, and we are easily integrated with other platforms. We already help thousands of families read and learn easier. We generate revenue by selling app subscriptions and font licenses. First, we aim to help 5.5 million students aged 10 to 16 in Croatia, United States, and then we'll expand to other countries. Omoguru founder and CEO Petar is an innovator with deep understanding of dyslexia. Both his wife and daughter are dyslexic. Maya is a speech and language pathologist with over 14 years of experience in early literacy and dyslexia. Marco is one of the world's leading typographers with Certificate of Excellence from Type Directors Club in New York, and I have over 12 years of experience in innovation and growing startups into successful businesses. We are a team of dreamers that know how to successfully impact the world of education because we believe reading is the essential skill. Join us and help kids read easier, live better.
Okay, Vanya, thank you so much for your pitch. It touches close to my heart because what you just said is so important, like reading, and not reading business books. Actually, reading good literature is so important. We need more people reading, and we wouldn't have these problems. So I don't know if we have any questions for you, Vanya. Please, judges, raise your hands if you have any questions. And I believe we don't have any questions. That means you did an extraordinary job.
Okay.
No questions. No, it is true. I mean, I would just add that you're so right. Dyslexia is such a big issue, and there's not a lot of people that know about this stuff. So it's fantastic that we have companies like yours. So congratulate the whole team for an extraordinary product and a really great service to society. Vanya, thank you so much. Pleasure.
Thank you.
Okay, and we're moving this way. We're flying all the way to our neighbors on the other side of the ocean, to Chile. I believe we have them connected around here, and they were having at least a really good time. I can see Nico and Jose there, and they were having a really good time with us. And precisely to talk about the importance of learning together, right? We keep living in this individual world, but learning together is very, very important. And to focus on conversational learning of languages, I want to introduce our next speaker. So please welcome Jose Sanchez and Nicolas Fuenzalida, co-founders of Políglota from Chile.
Hi, my name is Jose Manuel Sanchez.
I'm Nicolas Fuenzalida. We are co-founders of Políglota, the social method for language learning.
In Latin America, only 2% of the population is able to speak English fluently. The main reason is that traditional classes lack the fundamental key in order to learn a new language: social practice.
In Políglota, we challenge this. We have developed a new methodology for language training, both online and offline, based on 3 principles: social, effective, and technology-based.
We have more than 12,000 students in countries such as Mexico, Chile, and Peru, with more than 3,000 sessions monthly, and we reached $2.5 million in revenue in the last 12 months.
These are personalized group classes guided by expert coaches that we train using our methodology. People can take the classes in online groups with people from all over the world in our emblematic learning groups that takes place in social places such as cafes. Each group lasts 8 sessions and has 1 level according to the European framework. and has a small group of participants.
It's a gamified learning experience where coaches evaluate students' skill progress at the end of each class. When a student reaches a high domain, she or he unlocks the next level. Students can track their progress in real time in our platform, where they can access also complementary content and activities and connect with students in our community.
People enroll through our website where they can choose their subscription plan starting at $45 a month. We are also working with hundreds of companies in Latin America from diverse industries.
This is a disruptive learning approach. While many competitors are focusing now on the content, on trying to replace the teachers with software, we use technology to enhance the human interaction centered around skills.
For each session, we received a ticket of $47 distributed over customer acquisition, coaches, and service cost with a 35% margin for growth. We have had a consistent growth over the years, and this year, thanks of how we adapted to the COVID crisis, we are expecting more than $3 million of revenue. This is the work of a strong team with a global mindset.
Language learning is a huge market of $51 billion worldwide, and we plan to reach $100 million in 2025. This is a learning model with an exponential scalability. And for this reason, we are now raising our Series A round to grow in LATAM this quarter. In Polyglota, we change the way people learn languages, and we are just starting. Thank you, thank you.
Okay, Nico, Jose, thank you very much for your pitch. Well, I said Nicolas, can I call you Nico?
Yeah, you can call me Nico, no problem.
Okay, because my kid is also Nicolas, and we always call him Nico. And the other twin always asks, why does he is called Nico? Because his name is Nicolas. That's when he grows up, he can go by Nicolas. Okay, so I hope you're still Nico here with us. I believe we have a question from Fundación Santillana. Manuela, please patch through. Unmute yourself.
Yes, hi, Polyglota team. I like very much your solution, but I have a question. I believe that the coach is a key element for your service. How do you train the coaches?
Okay, we have a important selection process and a training process. So we recruit coaches all around the world, and they apply with us. They go through a process of selection, and then we train them through workshops and permanent training with a specific team for them. We have an academic team specialized in training. So they at first go through this training process, and then they continually have specific sessions to improve in specified expertise on how to engage with students, how to connect with them, how to push forward the language learning process. So they go through a career process where they can go have specific roles, and they can get to better payments as long as they keep going up and they have good reviews.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, guys. I believe we don't have any more questions. So, Nico, Jose, un placer. Thank you very much for joining us today. It was great having you, and let's move this way. We're gonna go north from where we were all the way to Canada, which I believe is really early morning, so also in Chile. So thank you for joining in such an early time. This is the funny thing about having different time zones, right? Eventually someone gets to wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning. So well, next time I promise it will be me, okay? All of you guys, people here, will be 5 a.m. in the morning? Yes, they're saying yes. And the thing about education is that sometimes, depending where you get it, it can be very unmotivating, right? And education should be fun. It should be something really cool that engages, that you get to learn because you want to learn. Now, it's not always possible. Schools not always deliver on that promise. And more importantly, most parents don't have either the time or the expertise to achieve that. So wouldn't it be incredible that everyone could have a tutor, a really powerful tutor that motivates the students, that help you with where you're getting stuck. Well, precisely to democratize that through the use of AI tutors, I want to welcome our next speaker all the way from Canada, Julian Blatt, co-founder and CEO of Corbit.
Hi, I'm Julian, one of the co-founders of Corbit. We are an AI edtech company building AI tutors and personalized learning to democratize education for everyone. With over 10,000 students and professionals enrolled, Corbit's AI tutors have demonstrated considerable gains in learning outcomes and student motivation. Corbit was founded by researchers at Cambridge University and Quebec's Artificial Intelligence Institute, MILA. After 3 years of operation, Corbit has raised over $3.5 million in financing and now has over 26 team members, all qualified in their respective domains. Our team combines expertise in artificial intelligence, computer science, data science, learning sciences, and natural language processing. Corbit has also been supported since day one by Canada's AI pioneers, including Yoshua Bengio, who helped set up and fund Montreal's leading site for AI research in Canada. To support our mission to provide the general public with a high quality, free, personalized learning experience, we're now extending our business to industry-focused training for companies aiming to upskill and reskill their employees in data science and AI. Online learning today is focused on consuming content through passive learning. It's often dominated by videos and a one-size-fits-all approach. This is extremely ineffective, especially for corporate training. When companies deploy online training solutions, their employees learn ineffectively and they can't apply their skills. Their employees are demotivated, they disconnect, and they drop out of the training program. In fact, according to a study by Harvard Business Publishing, almost 50% of employees are dissatisfied with their training programs, and even more employees are asking for personalized, individualized training. That's why at Corbit, we are working hard to transform online corporate training and make it more personalized, more effective, and more engaging for every employee. Our AI tutors are highly personalized teaching assistants who use artificial intelligence to educate students and employees. With its customized curriculum, personalized feedback, and interactive exercises and projects, the AI tutors will allow companies to train their employees in data science and AI better, faster, and with more engagement. The AI tutors evaluates the student through a formative assessment framework and automatically calibrates the personalized curriculum to optimize their learning experience. The result is a unique and interactive learning experience where every content piece, every exercise, every project is targeted towards the student's specific needs and goals. We are now looking for companies and pilot partners to use the AI tutor to train their employees in data science and in AI. Please contact us if you want your company or your institution to take their learning in data science to the next level. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Julian. It was a pleasure listening to your pitch. And as I was listening to you, I was thinking, no, the problem is they use Moodle. That's why they disconnect, because they use a horrible thing. However, you know what is the next course that you need to teach them is critical thinking. Few people have critical thinking there. I believe we already have a question for you, Julian. So from Fundación Telefónica, Luis Miguel, unmute yourself, please.
Hi, thanks a lot, congrats. One question talking about your business model. I suppose that you are thinking in the companies, in the business, in the big companies, in the employees of the business. But my question is, it would be possible, for example, the students of university that they are looking for a new employee or a new job, or is only for the people who is working now?
That's a great question. So we have over 10,000 students on the platform today, and we have two tracks. One is the enterprise track, which is for companies, which is a B2B2C model. We sell Corbit to the companies and then they offer it to the employees. And then we have the free version of Corbit that's for students, because we know that students, they of course have less money to spend on education, and they may be more adverse to paying a lot of money here. So that's the free part of Corbit, where there is a set of content around the core topics in science, like data science. And long term, we are considering to build an academic version that kind of expands on that and allows schools and universities to subscribe to Corbett. So a teacher could subscribe and create a classroom together with the AI tutor.
Okay, thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Julian. Thank you very much. I was thinking, you know, you have tiger moms on one side, right? And now you have the tiger AI that can help you study at home. Kid, go back, go back. You need to pass those exams at university. Anyway, Julian, thank you so much for your pitch. I believe we don't have any other questions. So that was a great job on your pitch. Congratulations on the numbers. They're very, very impressive. So thank you very much for sharing that with us. And judges, thank you very much for the questions. And we're going south again, this time to Colombia. And we're going to be talking about what if we could actually start using, but really using the technologies that we have to engage in the classes. Like too often we hear about, yeah, we're gonna bring technology to the classes, technology to the classroom, but most of the times it's either boring or it requires, among many other things, having internet connection. Well, the reality is that a lot of people don't have internet connection, but still could benefit from more interactive and engaging and gamified classes. Well, to talk about that and to present you their devices, please welcome our next startup, Juan Lopera, co-founder of Tommy.
Hi, I'm Juan. I'm the co-founder of Tommy. And Tommy is a platform and a device that helps K-12 teachers in emerging countries to create awesome classes. Let's see, this is a developed classroom, a developed country classroom. And this is the average classroom in the 80% of the planet. So the gap is evident. Not having internet access inside a classroom to access didactic content is one of the lack of teachers in emerging countries. Tommy is an online subscription for those offline classrooms which work like Kahoot or Quizlet with more than 40,000 games already created by the community of teachers that we have in the last 5 months, and very easy to use templates to create new ones, details report, and an AI-based advising systems to teachers. All this even without internet access inside a classroom. We enable the real-time interaction with Tommy Digital without internet connection using a better version of the platform inside our patented device, Tommy 7. So when a teacher takes Tommy device inside the classrooms, Tommy creates a Wi-Fi connection that simulates internet and allows interaction from the device of the students with all the content previously synchronized into Tommy device. Additionally, Tommy has features to enhance the content deployment, like becoming any video projector into a touch-sensitive and a smartboard, grading in paper exams automatically, and learning from the didactic strategies the better teachers already used. So we have 2 types of devices, but the better news about this is that both of them are for free for annual subscribers. So the teachers paid for an annual subscription, and we give the enabler device for free to their countries. There is a $20 billion market for didactic printed textbooks in emerging countries that will become digital and will grow as it did in developed countries already. So we can let it before any other can do it. Our competitors are not growing in emerging countries while we are growing organically and bootstrapped as in users, as in revenue with $2.7 million in revenue and 169% monthly usage growth. We are right now raising $2 million in our seed round from strategic investors. And 3 important investors already believe in us, including Andrew Sutherland from Quizlet, one of our competitors. There was a teacher who changed my life and my co-founder's life while we grew up in a poor neighborhood here in Colombia. That's why we are working for teachers. We already created a successful EdTech startup with more than $30 million in revenue in the first 5 years, only in Colombia with the same team. So we are ready to do it bigger and better with Tommy. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Juan. That actually gave me the goosebumps here because I think everyone has those teachers. Most of us have had a teacher that really changed your life or someone taught you in a way that made you see something different. So thank you very much, Juan, for doing what you're doing and for the incredible numbers that you have, which are congratulations on those. And I believe we have our first question again from Manuela, Fundación Santillana.
Hi, thanks very much for your presentation. I really like the Tommy device, but I have a question about the distribution. How do you plan to reach all the different countries in Latin America, for example, and all the different small schools all over the countries?
Thank you, Manuela. Actually, we are using distributors. For example, Santillana in Ecuador is one of our resellers there. So we are using all the distribution platform that already the publisher had in the emerging countries today.
Thank you.
Nice. So you should talk with Manuela. Manuela, you should bring it here to the schools here who definitely need that. But I think more importantly, one part that for me strikes gold is the fact that the non-internet need, right? Because there's so many people really that are completely disconnected in poor neighborhoods that they cannot afford these things. So it's really, really nice, Juan, that you guys are achieving this and growing healthily and bootstrapping. Big fan of bootstrapping. So congratulations on that. And I believe we don't have any more questions. So thank you very much, Manuela, for your question. Thank you, Juan, for being here with us and your wonderful pitch. And we're nearly at the end. We have our last pitch of the session with a topic that for me is fascinating, but I always, I'm a little bit scared to hear how this is solved, which is acquiring knowledge. How many times you have this question that you go like, okay, who can tell me how is this working? Where can I find information about that? Or who in the organization can teach me about this? So to talk about that, how to acquire knowledge in a scalable way, please welcome our next startup, Daniel Suarez, CEO of Sapiens Technologies.
Hi everyone, I'm Danny and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Sapiens.ai. We are the knowledge operating system. Basically, we born because we want to solve a very huge problem that all the organizations are facing today. How we are able as an organization to manage all the knowledge inside of our company, how are we able to reskill the talent of our employees, how are we able to break all the silos and merge the information that is stored in digital areas and the knowledge that is stored in human brains. That's how we want to create a complete suite where you are able to manage all this in an easy and unique place. So basically, we started 3 years ago. The first module of this system was a micro-mobile training, and our first customers use us to train in an easy way and really quick to save tons of time to their employees, based exclusively in questions and answers. That for us is the most important thing, because right now today, we got a problem with the lack of attention. So the minimum quantity of information, and for us, and the way that we transform how the information moves inside of the organizations is about questions and answers. It was our most important thing in the beginning. The second year, we developed the people analytics, the way that we collect all the information about the employees, and we were able to discover the topics, the experts, and connect a knowledge map about the organization. The third year, with these two models, we were able to create the third one, the knowledge connector. Knowledge connector is a kind of bot, but with a superpower. If you ask a question to our bot is able to give you the answer, as everyone, but maybe we are able to say you, I don't know. This is a superpower, because if we say you, I don't know, we were able to predict who is the right person inside of your organization, that it's the person that are able to help to you, collect that information and structure inside to save thousands of questions in the future. So this is what we got today. Of course, thanks to our partners with Microsoft and inside in Teams, we are growing after the pandemics a lot, simplifying all the process. Even thanks to the help of AIDS 2020, the European Commission, we receive funding and we are preparing right now the software as a service and move not only to work with corporates, that we are very proud to work with more than 50 like Vodafone, Nike, Nespresso, L'Oreal, and we are preparing the system even to be accessible for all the medium companies, even in a freemium way, in the way that you are able to pay with money or with knowledge. So this is the future of knowledge management. And if you want to know more about this and move from chaos to a knowledge operating system, just go inside sapiens.ai. See you.
Thank you so much, Danny. That was fantastic. And yes, we need more knowledge operating systems, that's for sure. And that was our last pitch. So let's see if we have questions. Nacho, Mateo, please patch in and mute yourself.
Hello, Danny. I'm glad to see that Sapiens is in another final again. So I'm a big fan of Sapiens, actually. Danny, I wanted to ask you a little bit about more details about your growth strategy in the next, let's say, next year. So, what is your growth strategy? Can you give us more details about that?
Yeah, the first thing is that this year it was crazy because we moved from companies and corporates, and just 1 month we opened the system to everyone, being able to work directly with the users, and we start with the universities. So this way to cap pros. So pros, when we say pros, is speaking about professionals or teachers, everyone that want to share knowledge. It's been great because we are receiving thousands of creators of content in an easy way. And we think that this osmosis system between companies and universities is perfect. And the next month, we are going to launch again the Sapiens Education. We are going to start with the first 5 universities in different countries to check if we are able to map these students and connect students in their daily with the corporations. So it's being organic and focused more in marketing, and more than from the beginning B2B company, now more than ever is more a B2C company.
Okay, great. So judges, do we have one final question? No more final questions? Okay, I believe we don't have any more questions. Danny, you did a great job. By the way, if you ever need some knowledge around tea, that's me. You can count with me. I can teach you how to not steep the tea, okay? Because a lot of people do it wrong, okay? And it works really well. It's good, healthy caffeine for all the universities and everyone trying to study and work. Anyhow, this was all for today. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for the 12 startups, 12 pitches that we've had this afternoon. Thank you very much to the judges for sharing and asking questions and being here. Some of the judges didn't make any questions, and I'm not looking at anyone. You know who you are, okay? Yes, yes. Anyhow, we'll have a talk later. But meanwhile, please stay tuned. Now we're going to connect live with the enlightED stage, the main stage that you're going to see on the left. So please stay here connected, because in roughly between 35 minutes to 40 minutes, we will announce the winners of the startup competition. So that was all from our startup stage. It was my pleasure. Alex here. I hope you enjoyed. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much. See you.
Universities want to be on the cutting edge of online hands-on projects, online degrees, and Coursera has been a way to do that. So what we're seeing now in terms of what universities are looking for from Coursera, they're looking for academic integrity to make sure that they can not only assess the knowledge of their students, but make sure that there's no cheating, there's no plagiarism, and that the person who's taking the test really is who they think it should be. And so we've added plagiarism detection, the ability to write private exams that are not on the internet using question banks, and having basic ability for professors to monitor the academic integrity of their assessments. We're making it easier for professors to look at their courses that they're teaching on campus and map it to our partners' courses, which are on Coursera. Many universities want to license content from our partners on Coursera, and they also want to build their own content that they can deliver to their students. So private authoring is another major capability that will allow any university to author courses for free and deliver them to their students online on Coursera for free. We also have just announced at the Zoom Global Conference direct imports from Zoom into Coursera. So any professor who's lecturing on Zoom can click a button, They can start recording to Coursera, and when their lecture is over, it's immediately available on Coursera, and it's available on the mobile app. We see a lot of interest from students in student employability and the ability to not only take courses from our partners and build projects on Coursera, but to measure their skills and benchmark a student's skills against someone who has that job from our Coursera for Business customer base. So helping students know what skills do I need and at what level of proficiency to be employable at graduation is a big part of what our colleges and universities are looking for. And then mobile learning, as I mentioned, is important, not only while you're connected, but the ability to download courses and take courses offline when you have intermittent connectivity, and even in some areas of the world, intermittent power, where you actually have to use a battery-based device in order to do your learning. So in summary, COVID-19 has been a great tragedy, but as the Secretary General of the United Nations has said, it is an opportunity with technology, online learning, and remote working to potentially build a more equal world where there's better access not only to learning opportunity, but also to economic opportunity. And with that, I'm happy to take some questions. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Jeff. It's been a very insightful presentation, and Coursera's numbers are just incredible. When you were presenting, it came to my mind something that is repeatedly said at technology conferences. You know, Uber, the largest taxi company in the world, has no cars. Airbnb, the world's largest accommodation provider, owns no real estate. Facebook, the largest media owner, creates no content. So following that analogy would say actually that Coursera is the largest education provider, but has no teachers, no students, no campuses, no content. So my first question is, do you expect to keep this incredible growth after humanity finds a vaccine and the virus hopefully is gone forever? Is this the future, you know, universities and tech companies putting their content in platforms like yours? Do you think online learning will become the standard? And if so, what do you think will be the role of the campuses, and what happens to that social, physical experience of the students?
It's a wonderful line of reasoning, and I think that you are spot on. My sense is that online learning is here to stay. And like you said, Coursera is really just a platform that allows higher education to support the transformation of higher education. It's actually universities from within helping other universities make this move online. And they're really sharing and licensing their courses for other universities that want to use those courses to help educate their students. So we hope that we can continue to be a place where universities collaborate with industry and with other universities to do a more effective job giving access to online learning to more students. I don't think that we'll ever have teachers ourselves. I don't think that we will have our own students. We will certainly not have our own degrees. We will never be a university, but we can enable universities to help other universities go through this transformation. The residential experience. What we are seeing is a reinvention of the way people teach, the way that students learn, and even the way that employees work. There's, I think, an analogy between online learning and online working. And just as we will never go back to the office 5 days a week and work in the same way that we used to work, I don't think that we will ever go back to a world where there's no online learning. But also, just as we're not going to always go back to work in the same way, we're also still going to have offices. We will still go back to the office every now and again, probably not everybody. At Coursera, we're thinking maybe 40% of our jobs will be remote and not in an office at all. But most will still have the ability to come to an office, probably 2 or 3 times a week. Some people might want to come 5 times a week. It depends on their preferences, really. I think the same will be true for education. I think that many students, especially adult learners who are working, who have jobs, who have families, and who cannot afford to stop their lives to go back to campus, will be able to have incredible learning experiences from the best universities. And it'll be more of a lifelong relationship that happens throughout my working career. So instead of only going to campus for 4 years and then being finished with my university, I think universities will create lifelong relationships with students that will happen on campus for many students and exist and extend for the full life of someone's working career and hopefully beyond.
It's interesting because we've seen in your presentation that Coursera has a wide catalog of courses from many universities in different disciplines. I think I saw 1,000 courses in business, 800 in data science, and so forth. So do you think that students navigating your platform will be interested in enrolling courses from, let's say, smaller institutions when they find right beside a very similar course from a bigger university with a better brand or better ranked, especially if, as you have explained, if that short course can be used later to access an elite university campus or a longer program? Should they feel threatened?
I don't think that they should feel threatened necessarily. I would feel if I were a university, I would be concerned if I did not have an ability to deliver online learning. Whether you author your own courses, whether you license courses on Coursera or edX or someplace else, every university needs to have a competency in delivering online learning. They can certainly have residential education programs, and I think many universities will still find that many students come for a residential experience. That will be very important for many students who want to experience that residential education for the 4 years of their life between being a young adult and entering the workforce. But any university that is not building the capacity to teach online and to author courses online, I think is falling behind. How's the competition and the competitive landscape going to settle out? I think what's going to happen is that universities will really have to spend more time thinking about what do we offer that is particularly valuable? What discipline, what experience, what professors, what research, what relationships with other institutions like employers or nonprofits or government agencies, what experience and what knowledge can we give to students that's unique? And I think they're going to focus on those things they're good at, and then they will partner and collaborate to fill in the gaps with other universities who do other things well.
Okay. And in your presentation also you have showed that low-skilled jobs are the ones hit hardest by the virus. Jobs performed by qualified people holding bachelor's degree have been less vulnerable. And in addition to this, low-skilled jobs are the ones with the highest risk of automation. They will be done by robots in the future. And despite the data you have showed in the Google IT support certificate, MOOC reports normally show that the average learner is someone that has already has a university degree or a college degree, or at least a significant educational background or professional experience. So do you think MOOC platforms are essentially for lifelong learners? What are the challenges to reach the unskilled? Because if finally online courses don't impact the disadvantaged people with a low educational background, maybe we would have to face critics saying that MOOCs are widening the digital divide, by reskilling the already skilled and not closing the gap.
I think that that's a very valid concern if Coursera did not expand and innovate the kinds of content on the platform and the audiences that we reach. Certainly in the first 5 years of Coursera's life, from 2012 through 2017, it was almost exclusively university content in advanced subjects being learned by people who have bachelor's degrees already, and some have master's degrees and PhDs. But what's happened in the last 3 years or so is we've really, by bringing on some of these industry partners, focusing on building not just content, but credentials, certificates, professional programs with employment opportunities, and then delivering that to workplaces, to government workforce development agencies, and onto campuses as well. We are now reaching populations who don't have college degrees in ways that we were not reaching them 3 years ago. A major part of this is what we called the Workforce Recovery Initiative, where, like we offered Coursera for Campus free to any university, we in April started offering Coursera for Government free to any government to help unemployed people reskill for new jobs. And through the Workforce Recovery Initiative, government workforce development agencies are using these entry-level digital job training programs to reach audiences of people who do not have college degrees and who do not have backgrounds in the field. So I think we started mostly with higher ed for people who've already had degrees from higher education, and now we are expanding the content, the credential, and the audiences that we're reaching.
Partnerships with governments are essentially for the unskilled, would you say that? Okay, interesting. Okay, and out of those 72 million learners, that's a number, is this the number that actually enroll the course or the number of students that finalize the course? I mean, I know your answer, but I just wanted to have some insight from you on completion rates. Why are they so low, and how is Coursera and its partners working to increase completion rates? Is this a challenge? Does this concern you? And what are the barriers? And essentially, is it possible to improve those figures without surrendering either depth by making courses shorter or more or easier, or accessibility, which means selecting students?
It's a wonderful question. And I think that we in higher education often come to this question with an understandable bias. And the bias is this: in the traditional world of higher education, where a young person would expect to spend 4 years or 3 years if you're in Britain getting a college degree, and sometimes pay considerable amounts of money, and in the United States go into considerable debt in order to buy that education, where you only get the degree if you complete. Completion is very important. If you ask, how many people ask how many YouTube videos were completed, how many Netflix movies are completed, there are many things that don't require a high completion rate. What we see is when students come onto Coursera and start a course for free, about 10% will complete that course. But many of those students did not ever expect to complete the course. When you look at the individual lecture videos, among those who start a lecture, these are 5 to 10 minutes, we find that 96% of students who start a lecture finish the lecture. For free courses, only 10% finish the full course. But when a student pays for the course and they're looking for that credential, the certificate that says, I completed this course, we see that the completion rates are about 50%. When students at work take courses that their employers want them to take, we see the completion rates are about 60%. When they're doing workforce development programs like a COVID contact tracing course from Johns Hopkins University, the completion rate is 90%. And when they're doing an online degree on Coursera, the completion rate is over 90%. So it depends. Why is the student learning? If they're learning to get a credential and they must finish for that, then they're more likely to finish. If they're just learning a lecture or they want to learn a new skill, oftentimes they will not finish. And that's okay, because they didn't pay anything. They didn't lose anything. They spent some time, they learned something new, and they got what they wanted.
But which you think will be the trend that will prevail?
I think it's sort of a try before you buy. If you look at the number of students, we have over 10,000 students taking online degrees from our partners, professors and universities today. Over 60% of those students in online degree programs earning degrees online on Coursera, over 60% of them started by trying an open course first. Try before you buy. Let me see if I'm interested in this topic. Let me see if I like this professor. I've never met this university. Let me introduce myself to this university. Without paying anything, I can try it. I can see if this is something that's interesting, if I'm good at it. And then if I like it and I feel that this is something I want to pursue, I can continue to do that. But I do think that the future is, like with many things, trying before you buy, letting people sample things, explore before they make a big time and investment, a financial investment. I think that's going to work. And most people studying on degrees online will have started in some shorter open course online.
Nice. So let's now talk about stackability, which is a trend that interested me a lot, and I think the audience will appreciate your comments on it. For those not familiar with the word, it means, as Jeff has showed in his slides, cutting long programs into shorter modules, which give students credentials and then allowing them to accumulate or stack them together at their own pace. How do you see this trend? Because it seems to me it can be a huge source of innovation. Do you see it that way?
It is, you know, once you take something that was once monolithic and you can break it into modular pieces and you can recombine those pieces, even across institutions, even across schools and colleges, even across industries, suddenly the number of combinations and possibilities really opens up. So I would encourage those in higher education to think about stackability in a few ways. For sure, building a degree online, and at the time that you design that online degree, thinking about what will be the modules that people can take as discrete parts of the learning process that can then stack into this full degree, that makes good sense. Building a stackable degree from the outset makes good sense. Another thing that we're seeing, and University of Michigan is doing a wonderful job here, they have multiple degrees on Coursera, and each of these degrees is stackable in the degree. But now they're starting to mix and match pieces across degrees. So they have a Master's of Public Health, they have a Master's of Applied Data Science, they just announced a Master's of Population Science, and they're starting to mix the different pieces, all from Michigan and all part of online degree programs, but now they're starting to mix pieces of their degree programs for interdisciplinary stackability, still within the institution of University of Michigan, and still only within online degrees, but across colleges at University of Michigan. We also have industry to higher education stackability. That's something that the two parties did not agree on ahead of time, but University of London looked at the Google IT cert and says we can articulate credit to that Google IT certificate. So you can have stackability across institutions that was not predetermined. And then another thing that I think is really exciting with universities is many universities, in a sense, are allowing their students to take courses from universities on Coursera and have that count as credit towards an on-campus college degree. That's almost a sort of stackability as well. Taking an online course from a Duke and having it count towards a degree at NMIMS University in India is a way of multi-higher educational institution stackability.
So you expect actually students, let's say, mixing programs and certificates or modules, you know, from one university with another and with industry, tech companies like you cited, and also offline and online? Is this going to be actually the you know, what the future is about?
Absolutely. We now have almost 4,000 colleges and universities around the world using our partners' courses as part of their on-campus program, which has now been moved online. Well more than half, I want to say about 75% of those universities, especially in India and Latin America, are actually offering credit towards their degree for students who finish courses on Coursera. It's not up to the student whether it's stackable, it's up to the institution whether it's stackable. Since the institution determines what counts as stackable credit towards the degree that we confer to our students, they will decide what they award credit for or not. So I think the idea that students will actually piece together different modules for credit, that's probably not going to happen. The higher education institution still will own the integrity of their credential, of their degree. They will determine for what type of learning and credentials they will articulate credit, and the institution will be the ones who design and control stackability.
Yeah, this is very interesting. Now let me change. You have, I'm not going to ask you what is the valuation of Coursera, but you have way past a unicorn valuation. What is the core competence of Coursera today? I'm sure it's not the same as 10 years ago, but regarding technology, I would like to know, what are the most important challenges for you right now? Is it data analytics or learning analytics? Is it technologies for student authentication? Maybe incorporating technologies like gaming, virtual reality, augmented reality, more collaborative tools in regards of the retention and engagement of students. What are your tech challenges of a platform like yours?
Well, there's what are our challenges and core competencies, and then also what are the technology challenges and core competencies. Let me start with the broader question of what does Coursera need to do well in order for us to continue to serve students and our partners. it really is a continuation of what started with Andrew and Daphne. They were both computer scientists at Stanford when they launched Coursera in 2012. The core competence was really two things. One is being very good instructors who can create online instruction that students around the world wanted. And the second was building an online learning experience so that students who took those courses can master the knowledge and the skills needed to complete the courses. And to a large degree, that's still what this is about. We need to continue to provide better tools for our partners to author high quality content that's available on the platform. We need to continue to expand the ways that students can learn. And a lot of that is mobile, a lot of that's offline. We've been making a lot of investments in Coursera Labs. We believe that hands-on learning, the application of that knowledge that universities are so good at teaching, to be applied using job-relevant tools, software tools with data sets, especially in a world of digital transformation and cloud computing. Applying skills with real-world tools is very important. We're spending an awful lot of time and money building Coursera Labs, both for students in university as well as working professionals. And then a third thing that we are really focused on, it's kind of basic, but we're trying to really extend the reach for our partners. Our university partners want to reach students all around the world. They want to reach learners in the workplace as well. So growing our reach, helping our partners take their professors, their content and their credentials and reach every corner of the world is a major part of what we're focused on as well.
You've said in your presentation also that COVID has accelerated change in universities. You have explained it very beautifully with all the icons. And one of those challenges, if not most, is student employability. That means delivering job-relevant skills to improve employability. I honestly think IE University is very good at that. We are very close to market and employers. We're quite fast in design and structuring courses with relevant hard and soft skills. But generally speaking, in the world or maybe in the US, you know that system very well. Why do you think universities are not filling that skills gap? You have named a few digital, let's say, profiles, marketing, digital marketing, blockchain, coding, graphic design. Do you think the transition to online learning or the digitization will actually spur universities to improve their courses, alignment to the labor market? Or because you see all these tech skills, it's always tech companies that I mean, do they have to be the only providers, or is it because they're, you know, the fast changing market environment, you know, gives them an advantage in that sense?
I think that the fast-changing environment is the root cause of why it's so hard to keep up with employers' needs. Depending on where you go in the world, some employers will say that the college graduates of certain universities are sort of well-trained for their jobs. Others will say, you know, not as well-trained. I believe, and you know, so I went to college and I was an English major and I double majored in English and quantitative economics. I loved the liberal arts. I love humanities. I also know that learning how to use computers and program computers and learning statistics is also very important. My sense is that what universities are very, very good at, distinctively good at, is pushing the boundaries of human knowledge, being pioneers in research, knowledge, theory, concepts, frameworks. These things are durable. These things are transferable. In a world that's rapidly changing, knowing how a certain system works can very well be the key to solving a problem in a different domain. And so I personally think it's really important that universities continue to be on the cutting edge of research and focused more on knowledge. I think what's beautiful about where we're heading is that through collaboration, universities can continue to do what they do well, which is that deep, durable knowledge that's not specific to one technology tool or another technology tool. Let industry do the tools training. Let universities break new ground in the frontiers of knowledge. And then what you have, I think, is a wonderful partnership where universities are teaching and breaking new ground in knowledge, and the companies are helping students apply that knowledge to specific tools with specific business contexts and specific data sets. To me, that's the beauty of courses from universities and projects from industry. I mean, for me, it seems very simple, but we see many of the universities saying, you know, we're going to continue to teach those theoretical courses, and we're going to use a lot of these projects from Coursera's industry partners just to make sure that our students have those skill tools. We're not going to have to teach them, though. We can get that on Coursera.
But okay, seeing, you know, how Coursera has evolved and all these partnerships and a wide range of courses, would you define yourself today as a MOOC platform? And if so, what is for you, Jeff, at MOOC today? Because it seems to be that every single letter is negotiable. You know, massive. What does massive mean today? Open is free. Open is a, you know, a free entrance, a free cost. Online, you know, course. What kind of? What is for you a MOOC? And do you think Coursera today, where you are today with 72 million learners, all of you have achieved, is it a MOOC platform?
We think of Coursera as a global learning platform. I mean, certainly the idea that you can come to Coursera and in massive numbers with, you know, millions of people. One of the courses from Yale that was published last year is called The Science of Wellbeing by Dr. Laurie Santos. And it's all about how humans make choices, and certain choices make us happy and other ones make us less happy. We've had over 3 million enrollments in that one course in 2020 alone. Now, that's massive. And the vast majority of people did not pay for it. That's open, and it is a course. So there definitely are, it is fair to say, are there MOOCs on Coursera? Absolutely. And is that model of big, open, accessible, and free, is that important? Absolutely. But Coursera has grown into much more than just a MOOC platform, because now some of these MOOCs are earning students credits towards college degrees in countries that are halfway around the world from the professor that authored that MOOC. And many of these MOOCs are actually being authored by industry. And many of these MOOCs aren't even MOOCs. They're online degree programs with live lectures with professors and study sets and TAs. And when you graduate, you get a real diploma. And with the hands-on projects, that's not a MOOC at all. You're building a project using a tool and data set. That's on Coursera too. So I do think that MOOCs are still very important. They're an important part of Coursera, but it's one piece of a growing learning ecosystem.
It's time. I have to finish. Thank you very much on behalf of all enlightED partners, Fundación Telefónica, IE University, the South Summit, Fundación Santillana. I would like you to end with a message to the people, you know, suffering this great lockdown, studying online, students seeing their education disrupted, people working at home. Give them a message, and thank you very much, Jeff, for your time.
Thank you. I want to thank you and IE University. My message to most is the future is about learning, and learning is opportunity. Learning has been the source of human progress since we started farming. The way that we can learn and share ideas has allowed us to transcend what every other species has done. And I think that the bright side of this pandemic is that we may see a future where not only can anyone learn online, anyone can get job opportunities online as well. So the ability to learn and the ability to have equal access to economic opportunity might be one of the most promising outcomes of this horrible pandemic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jeff. It's been great to know more about online learning and its many possibilities. I think that your contributions have solved some of our doubts. Classrooms are definitely changing. Blackboards and chalk are but a memory. We are facing an era where digital transformation is not the only revolution. EdTech is a turning point that can change everything. But what is the purpose of educational technology? Our next speakers have major roles in some of the most relevant EdTech companies. There is no higher authority here to talk about this topic. To moderate this debate, we have Miguel Arias here with us. He is the Director of Telefónica Global Entrepreneurship. Welcome, Miguel.
Hi, Marta. It's great to be here. And we're going to be discussing today about the fact if EdTech has reached a tipping point in this 2020 or not. And we have an amazing panel to discuss this. So I'm going to just introduce each of them briefly. First of all, I would like to welcome Matthew Greenfield. He's the managing partner of Edusync Education. Hi, how are you doing?
Fine, how are you?
I'm great. From Brazil, representing the NGO sector, we have got Dennis Misne. I hope I said this right. Dennis, he's the co-founder of, and CEO, of Lehman Foundation. Hi, Dennis.
Hi, pleasure to be here.
Wonderful. And representing a bit the corporate and investor world at once, from the UK, we've got Charles McIntyre, co-founder of EdTechX. Hello, Charles.
Hi, nice to see you, and it's a real pleasure to be with you today.
Wonderful. And to start with, I think we can all agree that EdTech has received tremendous amount of funding over the last years, so many rounds, more than $10 billion raised lately. We can see that EdTech is becoming mainstream. Everybody's talking about this. And we have also seen this tremendous change in behavioral patterns through the pandemic, right? I mean, we have seen so much more usage of online tools over the last years. I think it was Lenin that said that there are decades where nothing happens and weeks where decades happened. And we saw this happening over the last months. So my first question would be, I think, first for you, Charles, this is for Matthew. I mean, what do you think are the biggest changes that you saw over the last months?
So when my firm started back in 2012, the dominant assumption of most venture capitalists was that we were going to use robots to replace human teachers, and that students would sit in front of screens and learn things by watching videos and responding to quizzes. And now we've had a massive experiment with, conservatively, at least 2 billion people participating in human conversation, the component of education that Charles described earlier, that involves people talking to each other and human empathy and human habits and values. And in a strange way, that has caught much of the edtech industry flat-footed because so many people had bet on the robot hypothesis. So the online program managers, for example, the industry that helps universities to go online and build successful online programs, build largely asynchronous programs where students work in isolation and did not see each other's faces and hear each other's voices for the most part. There are actually only 2 online program managers that started from the very beginning with video conferences and seminar-style education. Both of them were started by one man, Von Katzman, and I happen to have been lucky enough to invest in both. I happen also not to have invested in Coursera and Udacity, which have done pretty well with the robot hypothesis, but I think people are questioning that hypothesis now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we've seen all this tremendous change, but I think the question is, will this change last after the pandemic is over, or will everybody rush back to the proper habits they had before? I mean, will we rush back to the physical school? So what do you think, Dennis? Is this lasting, or is this going to just be a fate?
I think there are some things that change that will last. One is what I call the psychological barriers for teachers to adopt technology. So some of these psychological barriers was this old idea, maybe with a mindset of the 80s or 90s, that technology was such a hard thing to use, that teachers would be, the students would outsmart teachers in the use of technology. And I think what we're seeing in the pandemic is that using Zoom, using other kinds of video conferencing tools, using WhatsApp to mobilize your students is not that hard, right? And actually teachers use that on their regular basis. You're able to use Google Drive or any other kind of collaboration software. So I think that psychological barrier has been removed, and we see this in data in Brazil. Over 79% of teachers in a survey that was recently conducted say they are comfortable about using technology now, and this used to be around 40% before the pandemic. So this is a major behavioral change from someone who really determines the use of technology. What won't keep happening, I think, after the pandemic is this idea of online classes, very passive methods of learning. I think when it's too passive, it's really disengaging. And we're seeing that after 2 or 3 months of online learning at massive scale around the world, students are getting disengaged, they are not participate anymore. They want to drop out. We're seeing this very clearly. So what makes the difference is we can combine the openness to technology, bring this to be a more interactive, encourage active learning, encourage student personalization of learning. I think if we do this, it will be transformation.
Wonderful. And you mentioned, Dennis, all these teachers getting adapting to all these new tools. And there are so many tools. There's an app almost for everything right now. So an app for content management, an app for tests, another tool for grading. What do you think? I mean, Charles, do you think we will see this further tremendous unbundling in many different tools, or we're going to see the opposite of the next years?
So I think these things go in stages. First of all, there is an unbundling, which we see as people develop and invent new tools to improve the efficacy of learning. But what happens after that is that these things start to aggregate. And you start to see that already. You see businesses in the States like Chegg, which started off with content and now adds a whole range of other tools, kind of online tutoring to kind of course materials to test and prep. And so what we'll see, as we do in many other industries, is that once you have that initial fragmentation, it starts to reconsolidate and you get some key drivers in the industry, bundle that whole combination. And what we need to remember is at the heart of it, what is a school? What is a university? It's essentially a bundled offering. So that bundled offering is the model that we're used to, and that's where it'll end up. So I think we're just in a stage of unbundling, but it will return back in different form as a bundled combination.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And let me be a bit controversial here. I mean, I have this feeling that in EdTech, a lot of the elements of EdTech is becoming a commodity, from the business model to a technology. So, and I would like to ask this for each of you. I mean, my feeling is just maybe brand and content is going to be a differentiator. Do you think everything is becoming a commodity? And if not, what are the differentiators for all of you? Maybe, I don't know, maybe Charles, you can, yeah.
Yeah, sure. So I think the key bit about education technology is, can we deliver at scale a bespoke service? And that is at the heart of the promised land for education technology. If we can deliver that bespoke element, the personalized service which addresses each individual's need but at scale, then we've delivered what we can with education technology. And that then is no longer a commodity. It is a very discrete, useful tool. If we just focus on a extensive doom-boom type offering where everybody has the same and it's mass distribution just of content of one flavor, it's failed.
I see you nodding, Dennis. What do you think? And then we're going to give it to Matthew. So.
I think Charles' points make a lot of sense. I think a big part of scaling up, at least in developing countries where I come from, is just this massive physical barrier, which is connectivity, right? Schools are not connected. In Brazil, 20% of students don't have access to the internet properly. 42% don't have a combination of great devices and great internet connection. So this is a major barrier, right? So a lot of the changes are not either going to make the world even more equal, which certainly we don't want to, or we need to tackle that. So I think there is one thing that might be a commodity and might be less sexy than talking about the tools and the features, but that we definitely need to talk about as the education community, which is making sure that connectivity to schools and to students is a priority over the next couple of years. Otherwise, we'll just leave many, many people behind.
Absolutely. Very, very relevant point, Dennis. And Matthew, what do you think?
Your question is really a question about education content, and building an actual school or an automated tool that really teaches someone a difficult skill is not so easy. So interactive tools are not as easy to build as mediocre education videos in which the teacher stands in front of a chalkboard and explains things, the MOOC model.
Yeah, totally, you're right. let me try to go then a bit more in specifics. I mean, we see a lot about this talk about blended models, right? And we see that with this now remote first world, it looks like it's much more blurry line between our digital and physical selves. So maybe this is for you, Dennis. Do you think this line is going to get even blurrier? And you talk about how the community needs to be a part of all these interactions. So what is your feeling around blended educational models?
I think blended education is a fantastic opportunity if we do it right. So I'm trying to use an analogy in some debates, which is you have to separate what is an online classroom and an online lesson, right? And the online classroom is an environment where people are actually working together. And if you blend that and you bring the physical classroom, the debate, kind of a lot of the old talk about the flipped classroom, taking next level, right? You can do some things but you need to have a much more like interactive experience. You have to get the sense of cooperation, develop social learning at school when people are together, and teachers can be very provocative and can take the students to a next level experience. If you think about the hybrid model where it's all about passive learning, or it's all about just extending the school day with the same kind of traditional way of delivering content that's not referring to the teacher teaching in a class, like just lecturing, I think this is going to work. So I think we need to take this opportunity and not only include technology to do the things that we already do, but use technology to open new forms of learning for schools.
Totally. And now switching a bit gears and talking more about the corporates, this is for Matthew. I mean, as you know, here in Telefonica, we have a strong bet on EdTech and education as a whole from the Telefonica Foundation. We do, as you mentioned before, support communities. Also, our more corporate approach in Educación Digital, where we try to sell also products to other corporates. What do you think in this new world that we're mentioning and discussing today is the role of the corporate, or particularly of the telco, and both as an operator, as a creator of content and platforms, and also as a customer? What do you feel?
So if we're going to reach the bottom billion, it has to be through cell phone carriers. There's no other way. And we need business models that are probably supported by philanthropy or by advertising. We need, in particular, some sort of delightful and addictive game that teaches people to read without a teacher being involved.
I don't know if teachers will love that, but yeah.
Well, no, there will still be a lot for teachers to do. Right now, so Charles alluded earlier to the idea of technology that can emulate a human tutor. And right now, we're very far from that. But the thing about exponential technology growth is that once you reach the knee of the curve, it moves very quickly. So I remember when computer translation was just a joke, horrifically inaccurate. There was a famous example of translation from English into Russian and then back of a quote from the Bible. And the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak, was translated into Russian, and then it came back as the wine is good, but the meat is rotten, which is maybe an amusing insight into the materiality of the Russian mindset. But now computer translation is roughly as good as human translation.
Indeed.
So that is not to say that there will be no role for human teachers when we hit this inflection point, but rather that the role of human teachers will change. I mean, right now, teachers spend a lot of time doing direct instruction, standing up in front of a chalkboard or whiteboard and talking and trying to keep the attention of an entire group. I'm a former college professor. I have a PhD in English from Yale. I taught at Bowdoin College and Columbia University and City University of New York, and it's exhausting, right? It's much better for the teacher to be working one-on-one as a mentor. And by the way, I don't know about the ratios in Spain, but in the US, there is one guidance counselor in K-12 schools for every 500 students. So there is no way for that guidance counselor to be giving people advice about their life plan, about how the academic work might connect to a career. especially not discovering a career that is connected to one's passions. So that's something that the teacher needs to be doing ultimately. There's no way to have an administrator do it. So the role of the teacher will change.
Absolutely. I mean, I see that you foresee a better life for teachers in the future. I was sitting in some classes with my girls, which are in primary school during the pandemic, and it was totally insane. All these 20 kids just moving around, impossible to grab the attention. So, I mean, teachers and online teachers are real heroes. So I hope that you are certainly right. And actually, before, I mean, Charles, we discussed a bit about the bundling and unbundling. And I have this feeling that when ecosystems mature, and EdTech is certainly maturing, then we need to see how each of these pieces orbit around each other. And there are a few of the planets which are bigger, right? Like the bigger platforms, like the Courseras of the world, and the rest of the Zooms maybe in the future. And the rest of the tools need to be connecting or interconnecting with each other. What is your feeling around this interdependency and interconnection between tools and platforms?
So I think that the starting point to remember is that we're still at a very early stage in the development of kind of education technology. And if we look at other industries like the media industry, they are already 30–40% digitized, and the education market is probably about 4% digitized. So we're still, when we talk about maturing, we're talking still at the very early steps of that. Though COVID has accelerated that position, I think there is still a long way. I think the other key bit in terms of how this all fits together is that there is a big, difficult conversation around the impact of investment and money, and how does investment play? Because what the sad truth is that schools and universities are short on funding. And what happens, how this changes, is that what it connects all these is the funding is what drives this. So as we emerge from EdTech, what we're seeing is the establishment of growing independent businesses join this together by being able to provide the funding and development capital to that agenda. It then is served back into consumer students and with the help of universities and schools. So why we have, for example, CU, which provides online courses to higher education, is because they can access the capital to fund the development of that program, which the university can't do itself. So what interconnects in terms of answering the question, ultimately money sits behind it, and capital markets and investors move quicker than government and universities. That's what's going to drive the next stage of growth in education technology.
Wonderful, and we are nearing the end to this very insightful debate, and we have all tried to have this crystal ball on the future and talk about things that may happen, future trends, but famously Jeff Bezos tries to say that he always bets in things that will not change in the next 10 years, right? Because that's the most sure bet you can make. So I would love to ask each of you, and maybe we can start with Dennis, what do you think will not change in EdTech over the next 10 years?
I think what won't change is the need to offer more personalized learning for students. We have hundreds of millions of students. It's impossible to believe that the model that we currently have, that treats them all equal, that assumes they all learn at the same age, at the same pace, is going to change dramatically. It's not going to change, so we need to use technology to fix that. The other thing it's not going to change is that it's really, really hard to teach well at scale, and technology is good at helping doing things at scale. So I think we should look at that because it's going to be hard. The last thing is that we need to think is these sectors are largely going to be driven by government, especially in K through 12. So if we don't solve the way how government is getting engaged with EdTech, we're not going to solve the problem.
Totally. Matthew, what do you think?
Just to build on Dennis's point, sadly, I think the thing that is not going to change is that there is going to be a massive opportunity gap between the privileged around the globe and the vulnerable. And that what we've seen during the pandemic is that most EdTech doesn't work. It's simply not educationally sound. B, even when it does work, it often widens rather than narrows the gap because the poor don't have good access to bandwidth, to their own devices, to private space and freedom from chores. They just don't get to participate in the educational system in the way that the affluent do, even if they're in the same public school system. So that, unfortunately, I don't think is going to change.
And lastly, for you, Charles?
So trying to bring some hope to the conversation. I think one of the things that I think is important and won't change is the role and importance of the teacher. And I think a lot of people have always assumed that technology is about replacement. It's not. It's about enhancement. And what I think we really need to do is to remember that, and in the context of how we encourage and enhance the teacher's ability and capability in the sector. And I often ask myself, who is teaching the teachers? That, I think, is the important bit to go into the next generation of education development for technology.
So we are nearing the end of the debate, and it's been super, super interesting for me. And remember, we started with one question, right? Has EdTech reached a tipping point or not this year? So we'd love to go the other way around to each of you, and you answer to me in one sentence. Charles, has EdTech reached a tipping point in 2020?
Absolutely.
Matthew?
In terms of the belief that education can happen online, yes. It used to be considered a fringe or inadequate substitute, and now people understand that it's the optimal solution in the majority of cases.
And Dennis?
I think we're in the beginning of the tipping point, and it's good to be here.
So, I mean, we're going to have this other edition of enlightED in 2030, in 10 years' time. So I hope that we are also invited to do a panel by then. And then we can see if we were right. We're going to just review this session that has been recorded, and we're going to see if we were right about what changed and what have not changed. But I would really, really like to heartfully thank you for the time we had together. I hope it was interesting for the audience. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for including us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for sharing such valuable information. It has been fascinating. Y ahora, cuando son las 5:15 de la tarde, ha llegado el momento que todos estábamos esperando, el momento de premiar a las mejores startups del mundo en materia de educación, tecnología e innovación. La verdad es que es un momento emocionante, y más en un año como este. Y creo que nadie mejor para expresar esa emoción, porque ella también está emocionada, que María Benjumea, fundadora y CEO de Spain Startup. María, por favor.
Muchas gracias, Marta.
A ti.
Imposible mejor momento, imposible más emocionante, y sobre todo después de haber estado viviendo juntos estos 5 días apasionantes de enlightED. Porque han sido 5 días llenas de reflexiones, llenas de formas en las cuales podemos ir abordando conversaciones, debates sobre cómo abordar la educación en estos días tan complejos y además tan rápidos en cómo evoluciona todo el mundo y cómo la innovación y cómo nos tenemos que adaptar a los tiempos es fundamental. Bueno, tengo que decirte, Marta, que es que este ejemplo de enlightED es claramente esa puesta en escena de esa adaptación permanente. Pero como nosotros somos el socio South Summit, el socio que realmente lo que conectamos es a todas las startups, porque es la pura innovación tan necesaria para toda la transformación de la sociedad y sobre todo para conectar lo que son los actores tradicionales, las empresas, con la savia que es la innovación que viene de las startups y la gasolina de los inversores. Creemos que en este sector, que es el sector de la educación, lo que hay es un montón de oportunidades. Justo hoy es el Día de las Startups y justo hoy hemos tenido el gran privilegio de escuchar a 12 startups absolutamente increíbles. 12 startups que han sido producto de una selección súper depurada de más de 450 que se han presentado a nuestra competición, a la competición de enlightED, procedentes de más de 55 países, solamente un 25% de ellas de España. Realmente la calidad de estas startups ha sido increíble, pero yo no quiero decir más. Quiero que pongamos un vídeo y que podamos verlas en vivo y en directo. Ahí está.
Meet Buddy AI.
Hello, Ivan.
Edusync, an affordable and scalable online testing platform designed for institutions.
We are democratizing the creation of interactive content because now it's simple and affordable for everyone.
We are a digital English learning startup.
Omoguru makes the text clear, understandable.
Kimpo is a digital marketplace for teachers.
Building AI tutors and personalized learning to democratize education for everyone.
We are the knowledge operating system.
Polyglota, the social method for language learning.
What makes us unique is the combination of 360-degree education.
Tommy is a platform and a device that helps K-12 teachers in emerging countries to create awesome classes.
Cypher inspires children to learn the language of the future through creatively themed coding courses.
Las acabamos de ver en el vídeo, seguro que las habéis visto también en la competición, pero es que ahora tenemos la suerte de veros en vivo y en directo. Aquí estáis las ganadoras, pero ya no querréis oírme a mí más. Con lo cual, lo que estamos es en el momento más emocionante para de verdad saber quiénes son las ganadoras. Lo bueno es que tenemos 5 categorías extraordinarias. Marta, todo tuyo.
Muchísimas gracias, María, por esa pasión y por esa energía. Bueno, el primer premio de la tarde tiene un valor inmenso, no solo por ser una categoría nueva, sino porque además el proyecto ganador es una de las ideas más innovadoras que hemos conocido en esta edición. Para nombrar al ganador en la categoría de mejor solución de formación en tiempos de COVID-19, tiene la palabra Carmen Morenés, directora general de Fundación Telefónica. Carmen, aquí va el ganador.
Muchas gracias, Marta. Realmente momento emocionante abrir este sobre del premio Fundación Telefónica a la mejor startup con la mejor solución durante el COVID. Y el ganador es, the winner is Corbit. Congratulations to Julian Vlad. It's incredible, your solution from Canadian. It's congratulations from all the people that we are behind enlightED. Y tenemos un vídeo para ver la solución.
Orbit. We are an AI EdTech company building AI tutors and personalized learning to democratize education for everyone. With over 10,000 students and professionals enrolled, Corbit's AI tutors have demonstrated considerable gains in learning outcomes and student motivation. That's why at Corbit, we are working hard to transform online corporate training and make it more personalized, more effective, and more engaging for every employee.
Qué emoción, la verdad. Bueno, vamos a ver ahora, a conocer al ganador de la categoría de Startup más escalable. Pero antes de entregar el premio, quiero recalcar, porque esto es muy importante, que todos los finalistas tienen un futuro más que prometedor por delante. Vuestro trabajo no solo aporta soluciones a la sociedad, sino que también nos inspira a muchos, bueno, nos inspira a todos. Quiero ceder la palabra a Andrés Saborido, Manager Global de Guaira. Y no solo te cedo la palabra, sino que te doy el sobre con el ganador.
Y el premio de Guaira para la startup más escalable es para Genially. Felicitaciones, Alberto, por todo lo que están haciendo, por esos 7 millones de usuarios, más de 20% de crecimiento mes a mes. Y si para un inversor es importante la escalabilidad en el ámbito de la educación, mucho más, porque significa que están llegando a más estudiantes, a más profesores. Felicitaciones. Un vídeo, por favor.
Now with Genially, we like to say that we are democratizing the creation of interactive content because now it's simple and affordable for everyone. We have concentrated the power of office software and web technology to create a one-for-all tool by which you can create almost everything you learn once and you can use it in many situations. Genially is probably the most versatile tool in the market.
Pues enhorabuena de corazón. Los proyectos finalistas de la siguiente categoría son también impresionantes. La verdad es que la originalidad y la innovación de los candidatos a mejor startup en educación superior se lo han puesto muy pero que muy difícil al jurado. Pero ya tenemos un ganador, así que le cedo la palabra a Geoffroy Gerard, director general de AI Foundation. Geoffroy.
Muchas gracias. Y el ganador de University a la startup de educación superior es Edusync. Congratulations, Sean and all the team. Really great to see you guys winning, and dentro video.
Edusync, an affordable and scalable online testing platform designed for institutions. The combined usage of all of these tools in one dedicated place is really what makes us different. From the 100% online testing of 4 different question types to report generation, allowing universities to use their own staff, and doing it all affordably and at scale to allow any organization from around the world to use the system is what makes us truly unique.
5:23 de la tarde, no me negarán que está siendo una tarde de emociones muy fuertes y aún nos quedan 2 categorías por premiar. Es turno ahora de descubrir al ganador de la categoría Startup con mayor impacto social en educación. Y tiene la palabra Miguel Barrero, director de Fundación Santillana. Miguel.
Hola Marta, gracias. Muy bien, pues el premio de la Fundación Santillana, la Startup con mayor impacto social en educación, va para Tommy. Enhorabuena, Juan Lopera. Enhorabuena, Colombia. Y damos paso al vídeo que nos enseñe Tommy.
Tommy is a platform and a device that helps K-12 teachers in emerging countries to create awesome classes. It's an online subscription for those offline classrooms which work like Kahoot or Quizlet, with more than 40,000 games already created by the community of teachers that we have in the last 5 months, and very easy to use templates to create new ones, details report, and an AI-based advising system to teachers. All this even without internet access inside a classroom.
Qué maravilla tener estos participantes tan brillantes. Ya solo nos queda por descubrir al vencedor en la categoría de Startup con mejor solución tecnológica para el aprendizaje y formación. ¿Estáis listos para saber quién es el último ganador de esta edición de los enlightED Awards? Pues tiene la palabra de nuevo María Benjumea, CEO y fundadora de Spain Startup. Te dije, María, que no te fueras muy lejos porque tenía este sobrecito.
Nada me gusta más que esto. Ta-ta-ta-chan, because this is the last one. Who is going to be the super winner? ¿Quién va a ser el super ganador? Pues el super ganador es, the super winner is Buddy A. Ivan, congratulations, because you not only are the super winner for this, you are the super winner in South Summit in this category of education. So congrats. You are. Next year, we will see you there at South Summit and at enlightED talking, because you will have an incredible company and incredible startups. Congrats.
Thanks. Yeah, it's an honor. Yeah, I'm shocked, actually.
We are going to see your video.
So enter Buddy AI. We help children practice spoken English by talking with a virtual AI-powered character, just as they would with a human tutor. We help children learn speaking vocabulary, improve pronunciation, and even practice real-life dialogues. So join us on a mission, and I hope our children will be able to really speak to each other.
¡Wow! ¡Qué emoción! La verdad, muchísimas gracias a todos los participantes, pero a todos, tanto a los finalistas como a los que han entregado los premios, que han estado aquí con nosotros. Muchas gracias. El trabajo de todos vosotros, de todos los que estáis emprendiendo, inventando con las startups, está cambiando el mundo. Hemos vivido un momento muy emocionante, pero enlightED 2020 no termina aquí. A continuación tenemos por delante un encuentro interesantísimo. Seguro que muchos de vosotros habéis seguido de cerca el trabajo de Tomás Puello. Pues hoy nos va a contar cosas que de nuevo nos van a sorprender. Awareness contributor recently became a worldwide sensation. One day you wake up, you write an article on the internet, and you find out it has been shared by millions. This is the story of our next speaker, a Silicon Valley engineer who became a global reference after posting several articles on coronavirus. The Hammer and the Dance is one of the most well-known. What had started as a Facebook post turned out into useful information for governments across the globe. I'm talking about Tomás Puello, the Growth Vice President at Arcus Hero. He knows what French philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre meant when he said that words are loaded pistols. Tomás Puello's words became a hammer and a dance. Please welcome Tomás Puello.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So what are you going to tell us today?
Well, let's talk about the future of work and education. And obviously with the coronavirus, there's a question of how much of these changes will last. How much are we going to be using remote in the future for work and for education? How much is going to replace the current use? And I think the way we think about it is, up till now, there was a little bit of remote work. Around 5% of employees, knowledge workers, were using remote work. And then obviously with the coronavirus, that explodes when it goes up. As lockdowns start releasing, that goes down. But we should imagine what that would have been without the coronavirus, right? And it would probably have shown an S-curve. The penetration of remote work would have been slow at the beginning and then starts ramping up and then slow down again. And it's an S-curve because that's how many things in the world work. That's the way an epidemic works. First it's very, very slow, then it expands to everybody, and then it starts saturating the population.